All right, good morning again, everybody. Good morning to everyone tuned in on the live stream. I assume everyone that's tuned in on the live stream is actually at home, in bed with coffee or with the iPad on their laps. I'm very surprised at the turnout. I'm very happy for the turnout. It's great to see everybody here on such a cold morning. So thank you for taking time out of your Saturday mornings to come listen to me. My name's Rob. I'm one of the executives here at DuePoint. We're going to be spending the next maybe 60 minutes together going through what DuePoint does, who we are, and what the opportunity is that we're going to be speaking about this morning. So let's begin. All right, so you at DuePoint's head office, we're actually a division of another business called Constantia Insurance Company Limited. That's their building in the background, their little orange logo. You might recognize it, you might not. They actually don't deal with consumers like you and me. They deal with other FSPs, other insurance companies typically. They were founded a very long time ago. They were formed in 1952, so they've been around for nearly 70 years, way longer than I've been on the planet for. A very reputable business, very reputable individuals that work in this company. We're actually listed on the Joburg Stock Exchange under a business called Conduit Capital. The FSP number that we operate under is that one that you see over there. You'll notice in the foyer above the water cooler, we've got all those framed certificates up there. Go take a look at those. Those are all our FSP licenses. We've got a short-term insurance license, a long-term insurance license. We've got an FSP license. We've got an investment license. There are very few registered insurance companies in South Africa. There's only about a dozen. We think all these other little FSPs that offer insurance, like King Price and Prime Meridian, are insurance companies. They're actually not. They're FSPs that are offering insurance products that are being underwritten by real insurance businesses. Constantia is one of these businesses. Okay, so it's very important for us at this stage, for you guys, for our audience, to start building up some trust in the business we're going to be speaking about. Because if I'm going to be proposing a partnership with you, that's a fundamental step, is that you trust the business that you're going to be getting into a partnership with. So go do a background check on us. You're welcome to go take photos of those certificates. I know it makes a lot of people feel better. Proof, right? Check the small copy, the small print. Don't take anything for granted. Okay, so the individuals here at DuePoint, this is the executive and the senior management team at DuePoint. The three individuals on the far left are registered chartered accountants. Sounds very fancy. Brendan, the first executive there, is actually our senior executive. He heads up DuePoint. He's got a lot of experience in financial services, particularly in insurance, because their family has been involved in insurance his entire life. Him and his brother Stuart grew up in insurance. His father is a professor of insurance, Dr. Brian Benfield, who founded Clientele Life, one of the biggest, most successful long-term insurers in the country, along with the IFA. His father's a professor who taught at Wits for 25 years. I tease Brendan and his brother. I say they probably got policies as birthday presents when they were kids. You can see why I became an accountant. He didn't know any better. But we're very lucky to have Brendan leading this business. Then we've got Tim Reynolds. Tim Reynolds got a lot of experience in corporate banking. He was working at the First Rand Group, very cushy senior corporate job that he had there. He reported directly to the CEO and the board of executives. And we know the First Rand Group, very large banking organization. They own the likes of RNB, First National Bank. I think they own Discovery and along a host of other businesses. And then Stacey has got a lot of experience in auditing. She's been working at Deloitte most of her young life, locally as well as abroad. So she came back from Luxembourg, overseas, back to South Africa. We convinced her to come join us at DuePoint. And then the two non-accountants, we're actually the happy people in the business. If you ever come speak to anyone, come speak to us first, because if you go speak to an accountant, they're just going to tell you about Excel and what they were doing that day. Pretty boring. We're trying to give them a little bit of personality in the business. I know when Brendan gives his presentations, he always says that the good-looking people start on the far left, and then it gets uglier as you get to the right. But at least I'm taller than him, right? At least people think I'm just standing closer to the camera. I'm just taller than all of them. So this is the team. This is who you're going to be dealing with. When we talk about a partnership, you can say, yes, this is the business I'm in partnership, but really a business is made out of people. So these are the individuals that you are going to get to know if you join this business. We very much get involved with the people that are involved in our business. We don't hide in our offices. Even though we've got that fancy glass sliding door, we come through it often and engage with the wealth engineers that join this business. Our mandate as employees of DuePoint is to support the wealth engineers, you guys. So if you do join this business, know that everything I do and everything that this team does and everything that the client service team does in this business is to support the wealth engineers in everything that we do. Everything. So know that, right? Lean into that. Become a wealth engineer and expect all that support. That's a great aspect of this business, because if you look at any partnership, you certainly want to be collaborating with the people you're in partnership with, right? If you don't have this common interest, then you're not going to be collaborating, and then you're doomed for failure, I would expect. But because our mandate is to support you guys and to see you as effective as possible, to see you successful, because as a business we can only be successful if you guys are successful, then we have this great collaboration that will take place between the two of us. Okay, so our guests, how many guests do we have in the room? Just a quick show of hands of who's here for the first time. You might be a wealth engineer, but you're here for the first time. So welcome. Lovely having guests in the room. I know the wealth engineers are working. There were 1 or 2 presentations in the last year where there are more wealth engineers than guests. Then I just want to cancel the presentation. Call it training instead of an intro presentation. So welcome to the guests. I'm always interested to know what brought you out here on a Saturday morning, right? Especially with weather like this. I'm sure you woke up and thought, oh, I've got to go to that thing. That thing I got invited to. What is this thing you were invited to? I would assume the person that invited you alluded to some financial opportunity, right? They said to you something along the lines of, oh, I've got a great financial opportunity. I've got a great business opportunity, or I've got a great entrepreneurial opportunity. And you said, yeah, I'm interested. I do know 1 or 2 of you just offer free tea and coffee and then throw the presentation in by surprise with the free tea and coffee. If that works for you, that's fine. So what's the behavior that drives this? Why would you, like I say, be here on a Saturday morning? We typically look at 2 aspects, actually 3 aspects, when we think about the behavior that drives the average South African to be looking at a financial opportunity over and above their employment, over and above the salary that they get every month, right? Because I would much rather be doing something else than be at work on a Saturday morning. Let's be honest. But there's some behavior, there's something that's driving us to be here. And the one thing we talk about is the economy. So the economy is not in a great state at the moment. It hasn't been in a great state for a number of years. If we look at the South Africa's economy, it's been growing at less than 1% for a very long time, which is very, very, very low. If you look at any business that you think is doing well, their annual growth rate would be something between 15 and 30% annually, right? South Africa is sitting at 0.5%. 0.5%. So if you had to look at South Africa's economy as a business, you would think, geez, this is really not a great business to invest in. And, you know, the economy plays out in a whole different number of ways into our lives. And I don't have to tell you each personally what pressure you might be dealing with financially, but, you know, through the data we get from economists, through the data that we get from the FSB, the anecdotal kind of evidence that we hear in the news, in media, a lot of people are under duress. Average South Africans, it doesn't matter what you're earning, you know. We've got 9 million people unemployed at the moment. How many matrics are coming into the workplace every year? Something like 900,000 coming into the workplace where there's no growth in the economy, which means there are going to be no new jobs. We've got inflation sitting at 7%. We've got food inflation sitting at 11%, so that's doubling, every 7 or 8 years we've got food doubling. I had someone complain to me that OROS has gone from 27 Rand to 40 Rand in a year. That's an indication, right? The OROS equation. What's OROS costing? Everything. I grew up on OROS. Nothing wrong with it then. All the MSG and tartrazine that it had, I was fine. So we have all these things that affect us in the economy. What's so frustrating about the economy is that we have absolutely no control over it. You've got no control over it. You can listen to the news and you can bemoan the economy as much as you want, but are you going to change it? You're not going to change it, unfortunately. We've got to hope that all these other aspects change one day, but that's purely based on hope. That's purely based on hope. You might wait till the cows come home for the economy to change, for your personal situation, your personal financial situation to change. The other aspect that exacerbates our financial position is this 4-letter word. Can you see the 4-letter word that I'm alluding to? It's appropriately a 4-letter word, right? It's called debt. Now, on the one side, we've got the economy that we have no control over, but we take on debt willingly. No one has forced you to take on debt. You'll hear the economists say in the news that South Africans are just, the culture in South Africa is just one where people like to take on debt. We don't have a savings or an investment culture in South Africa. I don't know how that compares to other countries, but some of the statistics that we get from the FSB that says the average South African only starts engaging in savings and investment products at the age of about 50. 50 years old, you start looking at savings and investment products for the first time in your life. Right? The problem is we get offered debt at a very early age. So we talk about this culture of debt. But you know, the moment you start earning a salary, you're getting offered credit cards, suddenly you've got access to personal loans. Even before you're earning a salary, people offer you educational loans. So we have all these debt instruments that get offered to us the moment you start earning a salary. And it's a great thing because the FSP can go, oh, look, you're a salary earner. I can expect that you're going to get a salary every month. I'd love to offer you some products. But debt instruments aren't the only products they offer. They do offer us savings and investment products, but we just don't engage with them, right? So we engage with things like credit cards and, like I said, personal loans, educational loans, car loans, home loans. And if you engage in all these debt instruments, which most South Africans do, we only get out of debt when we're around the age of 50 for the first time. And now you can see why South Africans only engage in savings products for the first time in their 50s, because you only become debt-free when you're that age, right? Because you typically will get involved with a bond in your 30s. And when do you pay that bond off for the first time? When do you actually become a homeowner for the first time? 20 years later, right? Because most South Africans engage in a 20-year bond. You can take out a smaller bond. Did you know that? You can take out a 5-year bond, a 10-year bond, a 15-year bond. But we all go, I want the biggest house I can afford with the salary I get. I'm going for the 20-year bond. And you only really become a homeowner when you're in your 50s. I saw a very funny bumper sticker that I tell the audience about every now and again. You know, these people on the back of their cars, they've got stick families, some of them, or people with the babies, they've got little baby on board, or bad boy on board, or whatever the sticker says. For the first time the other day, I saw someone that said, financial burden on board. They were talking about their children, right? Which is true. If you want to look at it from an economic point of view, little kids are huge financial burdens. I've got a 4-year-old, and when we decided to start sending it to creche, the creche was costing something like 3,000 Rand a month, right? And then every year, when she became 3 years old, then the creche suddenly became 4,000 Rand, and then it became more expensive every year. Now she's 4. Now she's going to a little school out in Bedford View that's costing more than Wit's first year. Right, so you can believe that these little people are financial burdens. I said to my wife, let's skip creche and primary school and high school and just send her straight to Wits. Why not? It's cheaper. That's the ridiculous thing. It's cheaper, right? But you look at the education space from a business perspective, from an enterprise perspective, you'll understand that the workplace is becoming so competitive. We talk about the economy playing out in all these different ways. The economy is playing out in a fashion where 9 million people are unemployed, willing and able to work but are unemployed, makes our workplace, the people that are in the workplace, so competitive. You are competing for your job with a person next to you. My wife is a labor litigator. She oversees 160,000 employees for a multinational mining business. It's the biggest private employer in the country. So we know all about retrenchment because I see my wife overseeing retrenchments constantly. And it's everyone that gets affected, right? So this workplace is becoming so competitive, you now see the education space from an enterprise level start to thrive. Because as parents, some of us, we want the best for our kids, right? We know they're going into this competitive environment called employment. And so we're willing to spend these exorbitant amounts on school. We want them to get into university and do well. But can I tell you something? It's not going to protect them. It isn't. Because I see my wife retrenching doctors, accountants, lawyers, geologists. These are people with 1 or 2 professional degrees that are working for one of the biggest companies in the world, and they're still getting retrenched. So don't ever fool yourself into thinking that if you get into employment, if you put yourself above the others, that it's suddenly going to protect you magically from this thing called the economy and from retrenchment. It just isn't. So we have then debt, and debt plays this detrimental role in our lives. It actually hamstrings us in terms of life, right? Because we find that we only start becoming debt-free very late in life, around 50. And I think, we can say, oh, well, you only start saving properly and investing properly because you've paid off all your debt for the first time. You've paid the house off. The little financial burdens are now old enough. They're through university. Maybe they're out the house and supporting themselves. And for the first time when you're 50, you've got money left over. But I think there's another aspect that drives this behavior where people suddenly start engaging in investment products, I think, in a panic. And it's this thing called retirement. Because when you suddenly get to 50, it's going to dawn on you that you are 10 years away or 15 years away from retirement. And by the way, retirement is the same thing as retrenchment. The net effect is that you don't get a salary at the end of the month, in either case. My father's 70 years old. He's working like he was 21 years old, right? So he's got tons of energy. I cannot ever imagine him being in the position of retiring and doing nothing when he's 60. He's still got so much to give. But he's also in the position where he doesn't have the choice, actually. He doesn't. He's forced to work. 70 years old, forced to still work, even though he loves it. But he doesn't really have that choice. So suddenly you have this thing called retirement bearing down on you when you're in your 50s. And I think that's why South Africans suddenly in a panic start engaging in investment products, suddenly realizing that, oh dear, I'm going to be retired and I'm not going to be financially independent, right? The stats that we get back from the FSB say only 2% of South Africans get to retirement financially independent. 2%. There's about 150 people in the room. That's 3 of us. 3 of us in this entire room are going to get to retirement financially independent. The rest of us, what are we going to do? Panic, try save, become a financial burden to our kids, to our families. We'll have to downgrade our lifestyles to such a degree that we can actually survive month to month. Think about how indignifying that is to suddenly be faced with that realization. So this is some data that was actually published on the Fin24 website late last year, so you can go check it out on the 19th of September. And this data was predicated on the fact that the mortality rate is rising at the moment. This has a direct consequence on your retirement planning, right? Because the average South African that dies today, this year, is dying at the average age of 74. Women, at least. The men die younger. We want to escape this world sooner than the women. But the mortality rate is rising, right? Because of medical, technology advances, healthcare services, that's all getting better and better and better. And so people are living longer. They reckon kids born today are going to live past 100. Past 100. Take a guess how many people in South Africa are living that are over the age of 100 currently. Any guesses? Someone's sneaky. Someone's been here before. There are over 4,000 people in South Africa that are over the age of 100. That's crazy, right? I never believed that. So we have this rising mortality rate. So this data says, well, if you're planning for your retirement, you can't plan to die at 74. You've got to support yourself until you get to 90. 90, that's 30 years. 30 years on average that you now have to have enough savings and investments to last you for 30 years, okay? So looking at this data, look at the 3 figures at the top, 5,000, 26,000, 52,000. Those are figures that will pay you out depending on the cash investment that you have. So if you want to earn 5,000 Rand a month once you're retired, you need to have saved R1 million. You need R1 million investment in the bank just to get 5,000 Rand a month. So if you're under the age of 25, anyone under the age of 25 in the audience, you've got time to do that. You've got time to do that. So you only need to start saving 800 Rand a month for the next 40 years. 40 years. And that contribution needs to increase in line with inflation. So it needs to increase every year by, at the moment, 7-8%. That 400 Rand, you've got to increase it. For 40 years. You can't get retrenched in that time. But who wants to live on 5,000 Rand a month? Anyone happy with 5,000 Rand a month? What does your life look like living on 5,000 Rand a month? 26,000 Rand sound better? Great! Start saving 4,000 Rand a month for the next 40 years. This is what a financial advisor will tell you. Go set up a meeting with a financial advisor. Tell him, well, when I get to retirement, I would like 26,000 Rand a month. He'll say to you, right, we need to plan to make sure that you're in a position where you've got an investment that's sitting at 5 million Rand by the time you get to retirement. That'll pay you out for 30 years. So if you live past 90, you're going to be suffering from 90 to 91 because your money will have run out, right? Because this 26,000 Rand actually starts eating into the capital amount. This is retirement planning, folks. Sound like a realistic proposition to everybody? Is this what we're all doing? For sure we're not, because 98% of us get to retirement financially dependent on other people. So this is certainly not the solution that we're going to be proposing this morning. But I want to show you a way where we can accelerate this process and turn it around to work in our benefit. So out of all this negativity, we're done with the negativity. We've spoken about the economy, debt, and retirement. All things that make us sad, let's forget about it, right? Let's move on. We saw an opportunity as a business to create a platform for South Africans to engage in that will change the situation for them. Your future situation. So the DuePoint system was launched last year in February, and we have 3 aspirations for our wealth engineers. So we've got 3 goals. The system plans to solve 3 things for you. Number 1, to become debt-free. We want to see our wealth engineers become debt-free as quickly as possible. Like I said, debt is crippling. It will hamper you for the majority of your life, right? We want to see you debt-free as quickly as possible. The second aspiration is for our wealth engineers to start engaging in some form of investment that is actually a true investment. Not like a house. A house is a debt instrument for 20 years before it becomes an investment. We want to see you start rewarding yourself first. You'll notice on all our products, our tagline is reward yourself first. Because we're all in the cycle where we pay everybody else first. What happens when that salary gets put into your account? You see the debit orders. Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. That's what happens. Everyone else is getting paid first, right? When do you get paid? You think you're getting paid a salary. That's you getting paid. That's not you getting paid. That's you just facilitating a transfer to everyone else. Our tagline is reward yourself first. We want you to start paying yourself, paying an investment that you can rely on, that you can look forward to, that you can build on for the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, however long you have until retirement. Our third aspiration for our wealth engineers is to see everybody smile more. Just be happier. How many of us are experiencing financial stress? On the radio, they said middle class, 73% of middle class is under financial duress this week. That's what they said. 73%. Who's middle class anyway? I don't even know who middle class is. Right, so they have all these statistics that say we are stressed financially. Brendan will joke when he gives his presentation. He says, money isn't everything. It's 99% of it. But it's not everything. Right? We all know money can cause us so much distress in every sphere of our lives. And so we try to solve that, because I promise you, if you become debt-free, think about being debt-free. There are no debit orders going off your account. You pay your kids' education a year in advance. Your cars are paid off. The house is paid off. Think about that. We can't even think about it. Right? We got Woolworths cards where we're paying for groceries we ate last year. You joke. 50% of South Africans with debt are under debt review. 50% of South Africans that have debt are under debt review. That means they've missed their payments for 3 months or longer. You must know the banks are panicking, right? They've given these people the money and they're not getting it back. So we want to solve this situation for our wealth engineers. So how does this all work? Basically, our guests have the opportunity this morning to join DuePoint. What happens is you actually contract with us in this partnership that we propose. And all we want you to do is one thing. It's to go out and build what we call channels of distribution. Okay, we're going to be speaking about channels of distribution all the time. So I'll show you what one of those look like. But through these channels of distribution, you're going to introduce people to us. And through this online platform that we have, we will attempt to place product with the people that you introduce to us. And that's basically how this entire business works. As simple as that. As simple as that. The benefit for you is that you get to create an additional income stream for yourself. The system's not designed to replace your salary, your income, your normal day job. It is there to supplement it. Remember, our first goal is to pay your debt off as quickly as possible. You can only do this through creating an additional income stream for yourself, right? So you can start paying off your debt faster. The nature of our business is recurring income. It's one of recurring income. This is probably the most awesome benefit of this business. It is an amazing benefit. An amazing benefit. I was having dinner with some friends last night. They've known me for almost all my life. They knew me when I ran this digital agency for 20 years and me exiting the business, and it was quite traumatic, right? Because I had a business partner, two business partners that I'd been doing business with for 20 years, and I had to say to them, listen, I'm done. I'm done in this business. I'm leaving. The number one factor for me leaving was because we couldn't create recurring income in this business. We were chasing our own tails every single month. We sold time, like most of us do. We sold time. So if you're a hairdresser, a plumber, an electrician, an accountant, a lawyer, if you're service-based, you are selling time. You bill for the time that you work, right? In my business, it was exactly like that. So every month, we would do a whole bunch of design and development and sales, invoice it at the end of the month, and at the end of the month, we'd start at zero again. I'd have to do exactly the same thing I did last month. I did that for 20 years. You should feel sorry for me. But we're all involved in this. There are very few industries, very few businesses that create recurring income. What is recurring income? Recurring income is when you get to create an asset that pays you every month, regardless of time. My father said to me, get involved in a business that pays you when you're sleeping. He told me this when I think I was about 12 or something, so I had no idea what he was talking about. I thought he was talking about shares or, I don't know, the stock market. I don't know what he was talking about. But I realized through my business, because we were always trying to create recurring income in our business, but it was so difficult to do that. Eventually I had enough. I got out of it. I said, I can't keep starting at zero at the end of every month. I'm going to have to work until I die. We're all in the cycle. We're all in the cycle. This business allows you to break out of that cycle. These channels of distribution that you're going to build won't pay you a once-off return at the end of 1 month. It'll pay you a recurring return. So you'll get paid for May's work that you do. You'll get paid in June, July, August. You can be in a position in this business in 5 years' time where you've built a fairly established business where you can take a holiday for 3 months and we'll still be paying you every month. Guess what happened in my business when everyone went on holiday in December? We built nothing. I spent 11 months building up enough reserves so that our business could get through December and January. Right? Recurring income. It is an awesome benefit. An awesome benefit. You get to harness the power of duplication in this business, right? These channels of distribution are you actually going out and building teams that you'll collaborate with. So if you've only got an hour to spend in this business a day, let's say, for example, you go build a team where you're working with 10 individuals that you've brought into this business, each contributing an hour a day. You're now contributing 11 hours a day into your business that'll benefit the recurring income that you're creating every month, right? So there's this collaboration that takes place. This is a flexi-time business. Now you might be thinking, oh, that's great. I can do it in my spare time. No, this is not a spare time business because I know everyone in the room doesn't have spare time, right? I know. I've only got one kid and I'm woken up at 6:30 in the morning. Daddy, get out of bed. And my schedule is full until I go to bed. It's full. And I suspect it's the same for each one of us. So when we say flexi time, what we actually mean is that you can choose when you want to do this business. And really, the decision I want you to make, for those of you that are interested in this opportunity by the end of this presentation, the decision I want you to make is, what time am I going to sacrifice to this business on a weekly basis? You have to decide that. There's no way around it. We are not talking about a New Year's resolution where we want to lose 5 kilograms this year. We are talking about your life, your family's lives, the stress you experience every month, your retirement. This is serious, serious business. This is not a hobby. So when I say flexi time, I want you to start thinking now for the next 20 minutes how DuePoint is going to fit into your life until you die. All right? You're going to be doing it forever. I promise you, you're going to be doing it forever. If you make a success out of this business and it's paying you big recurring income, you will not be going anywhere. And I'm not that bad. I think we can become friends. Won't be an issue. It won't be an issue. Okay, so you're completely independent. You're actually accountable now. You're accountable for the first time, right? This is not like employment where you decide, I'm not going to come to work on time this morning. And you come to work at 10 o'clock in the morning. What happens? Your boss gives you the eyebrow. And you walk in. And then Tuesday you come in late again. Then he phones the HR manager. Written warning for that person. Then Wednesday you come in late again. Another written warning. Thursday you do it again. Third written warning. Now you've got an invitation to a disciplinary process. And then maybe by the following week you're fired. In this business you're accountable for your own time. No one is going to phone you if you don't spend time in this business. So you're accountable to yourself. There's no startup capital. There's no registration fees in this business. There aren't boxes of product that you have to buy to get involved in this business. So it's a very low risk opportunity we're going to be talking about. There's no qualifications or experience required on your part. This is important. We work in financial services. So right now I've got 2 exams coming up. Because I work as an employee in financial services, I've got to have the qualifications. I have to have experience in financial services. I've got to do the exams that the FSB sets out. So I've got to go through all this pain to operate as an employee in financial services. We actually contract you guys out of this, so you don't have this issue of having to comply with all this FSB regulation. You get to build an asset. Now this is an important point, because if I'm proposing to you, I want your spare time. I want time that you spend with your family, time that you spend watching sport, time that you spend sleeping late. That's the time I want to see you successful in this business. At least have ownership over this thing that you are building and investing time into. We all nod, but we're spending 45 years working for someone else where we've got no profit share, no shareholding, no ownership, no control. We spend our lives doing that, right? In this business, you've got ownership over this thing that you're building, these channels of distribution. You can sell them. You can seed them to your beneficiaries. You can give them to your kids when you get too old to do the business. So it's an asset that you're building. No selling involved. How many of our guests arrived here looking for the products? How many of you said to the person that said, I've got this great business opportunity for you, your first question was, what's the product? You did, right? Yeah, of course. But there's no selling. Again, we contract you out of selling. This is a great thing because not many of us are good at selling. So you should be elated. You should be going, whoop, whoop. Where's Loki? There we go. So we make this business as convenient and as simple as possible to get involved in. Okay? All based on you going out and building what we call channels of distribution. So this is how it starts. You become a wealth engineer. The only thing we want you to go do is go out and tell people about the business opportunity. That's it. Not about products, about the business opportunity, right? That's where the need is in South Africa. That's 98% of the population going, yes, please, I need more money. When you go out and you're successful at that, and we're able to place a product with these individuals that you introduce to us, this is the start of your channel of distribution building. Those people that you introduced are going to go out and do exactly the same thing. This is the power of duplication. This is leverage. How much time did it take for you only to introduce 5 people? Look at what your channel of distribution can become after time. You have this organic growth that is possible to take place in your business. You're getting paid for every single product that's in your channel. Not once off, every single month you're getting paid, every single dot. And next month there will be a couple of more dots in your channel, and you'll be paid a greater recurring income. So this is what a channel of distribution looks like. But you'll be forgiven arriving for not only thinking, well, where's the product that they have? Where's the product? You'll also be forgiven for thinking, well, this is one of those bloody schemes that I've been invited to see. Because there are many of those floating around the country, right? Many. I've had many sob stories here at reception, people telling me, oh, they got involved in this scheme, and they believed the Russian that was on YouTube telling them they were going to be millionaires, so they gave them all their money. We're not one of those. We're nearly a 70-year-old business, very reputable business, very fuddy-duddy accountants working in the business, right? An insurance business, listed on the JSE. We would never align ourselves to anything that even smells like a get-rich-quick scheme. Those are illegal, by the way, right? The FSB would shut us down very quickly. So we are not one of those. It's a very authentic business opportunity. The second point I want to make is that success does not come easily. It doesn't. You'll see some great numbers. We've got wealth engineers that are doing phenomenally well. But it takes hard work. It takes discipline. It takes accountability on your part to make this business successful. It's not like these other schemes that promise you, oh, just put money here and you're going to be rich next week. It never works like that. Life does not work like that. It doesn't matter what you're focusing on, whether you're trying to lose weight or whether you're trying to work on your marriage or be a good parent or start a business. They all require you to go through all the frustration and pain to make something successful. The people that are successful are the ones that don't give up. Those are the ones that are successful. The people that give up are never successful. Never. So this is my disclaimer slide, right? Don't say I didn't warn you. But we're in it together, and you'll get all the support that you need. How do we pay our wealth engineers? We pay our wealth engineers something that we call a return at the end of every month. That's based on how much product you have in your channel. So the base return fee is R27.50 that you get paid for every product every month in relation to where the product lies, okay? So there's the first 5 people that you introduced to this business. They lie on your first point. These are people you introduced personally. On point 1, we actually pay you double the R27.50 every month. So we pay you R55 for every product that we place into your channel every single month, that recurring income. Remember the people, they went out and they told other people about the business, right? The people that then join are now on your second point. On your second point, you get paid R55 again. On your third point, on your fourth point, as your channel gets bigger and bigger and bigger, all the way down to the 8th point, but you'll see the multiplier drops, right? It goes 200, 200, 100, 80, it starts dropping. From the 8th point, we're paying you R1.10 for every product in your channel, but we don't limit you there. So from the 8th point onwards into infinity, we will pay you that 4% of the R27.50 for every product every single month. We don't limit you on how large your channel can get with DuePoint. We don't limit you on how much money you can earn at DuePoint. Again, the accountability lies with you. So this is the mechanics of the returns. The next natural question is, well, how much money can I earn after a certain amount of time? If I'm here for 3 months or 6 months, or you talk about long term, if I'm here for 5 years, what can I expect out of this business? So the accountants built this thing called the path to success. It's based on a growth model. The growth model is what we call 3+2, because the growth model says if you become a new wealth engineer, put 3 new people into the business in your first month, and then every consecutive month bring another 2 people, right? So we call it 3+2 +2 +2 +2 +2. You're going to do that forever. If you can do that, if you can follow that growth model, you can be at R2,500 after 6 months. So some people might think, well, that's not a lot of money. R2,500 for 6 months worth of work. Remember, it's recurring income. But let me give you some context, because you're either on the good side of compound interest or on the bad side of compound interest. Currently, we're all on the bad side of compound interest. Our first goal at DuePoint, let's get on the good side of compound interest. So here's a person with a R1 million house that they didn't have the money for to pay. So they went to the bank and they borrowed R1 million from the bank, and they entered into this contract called a home loan or a bond. And they agreed to pay the bank back over a term of 20 years. And based at the current interest rate, they're probably paying 11 to 11,500 rand every month for this home they're now staying in, right? We all appreciate the way the bond works. After some success at DuePoint, you're earning 2,500 rand. You put that money that you're making as an additional payment into your bond. It is going to reduce the term from 20 years down to 11.5 years. You get the bond when you're in your 30s, you're going to pay the house off in your 40s. Not like everyone else that waits till they're in their 50s. You have nearly halved the term of your bond. The amount of money that you have saved in repayments is R1 million. 2,500 rand has saved you the same value that the house is worth. That's mind-boggling. When the accountants came up with this example, I thought they were wrong. Well, that can't be. How can 2,500 rand save you the same value as the whole house? You're either on the good side of compound interest or you're on the bad side of compound interest. We need to start thinking about money differently. We are on the receiving end of debt constantly. And we'll be like that for the next 30 to 40 years if we don't break out of the cycle. After 12 months, you're on over 100,000 rand annually that you've created for yourself. Anyone get a 100,000 rand bonus in the last year? No one. There was one stage. Every month there was one person sticking up their hand. But I think people are too nervous now because we're all going to go ask them for money. Huh? You keep going. After 24 months, nearly 30,000 rand a month. Now, 30,000 rand a month is serious. It doesn't matter how much money you're earning. You can be earning 200,000 rand a month. I tell you, in 24 months, I can pay you out an additional 30,000 rand a month. You're going to be interested, right? You keep going. 36 months, nearly 50,000 rand a month. You want to look at the bond example again? Here's an example of a 5 million rand bond, because now you're a high flyer. You're earning, at 30 months, probably 36,000 rand a month. You place that additional money you're making into your bond, you'll pay that 5 million rand house off in less than 7 years. Less than 7 years. Anyone under the age of 40? A few of us? You can do this exercise 3 times over before you retire. 3 times over. Pay the first house off in 7 years, 5 million rand house you're living in is now yours. Go buy another one. Take another 7 years. So if you're 40, at 47 you own the first house. At 54 you own a second house. At 61 you own the third house. You now have 15 million rand in property assets. How much will DuePoint be paying you after 21 years if you keep going? This is the retirement that we're trying to plan for our wealth engineers. This is what we want you to do. This is what we're talking about. I'm not talking about a hobby. Sell all 3 houses, buy a 15 million rand beach house for retirement. Or stay in the 5 million rand house, rent the other 2 out for 60, 70,000 rand a month. Passive income. You can be politically free, but does it matter if you're not financially free? Right? We can see all the trouble that South Africa is in at the moment. It's because people aren't financially free. It creates the most stress in our lives. Let's fix this for generations, not only for you. 48 months, probably close on 70,000 rand a month that you created for yourself. After 60 months, a short 5 years, 3 plus 2. Every single week you're bringing a new person in, or every 2 weeks, one person, for the rest of these 60 months. Do you think you can do it? It's just an example. But you've created for yourself 1 million rand in annual recurring income. At what stage of this path to success do you tell your boss where he can stick his job? That's control over your life, right? When you have that option. No one has that option at the moment. You can't tell your boss what you really think about him, right? I can't tell Brendan what I really think about him. I don't have the luxury. I don't. I'm not earning recurring income yet. This is liberating. This is liberating. But like I said, it's only based on this growth formula that we call 3 plus 2, that the accountants came up with in Excel. You can do less than 3 plus 2. You can get excited about this business, think, oh, 1 million rand a year in 60 months. I'm going to do this. You can join, and then you don't do anything. Carry on watching Generations in the week. Carry on watching sport on the weekend. Get up late on the weekend, and you don't do anything extra. Then you're going to be part of the growth formula called 0 plus 0. And how much money will you be earning after 60 months? See, we've got accountants in the audience this morning. But you can do more than 3 plus 2, right? Like I said, 3 plus 2 is only an example. You can do more than 3 plus 2. We've got lots of wealth engineers doing more than 3 plus 2. Here's Mavuma, very loud person, right? Loudest voice here at DuePoint. Very energetic. Feel sorry for his mother when he was smaller. But completely sold out for DuePoint. Joined in November. That was the day he joined. The day after my birthday, Brendan's birthday. Diarize these dates. They're very important because you're going to be buying gifts in future. But within 90 days, he created 5,000 over 5,000, 5,500 rand of recurring income for himself. Think back to slide number 3, slide number 4. How much money did you have to have in the bank to pay yourself out 5,000 rand a month? 1 million. You needed 1 million rand, equivalent of 1 million rand cash investment to create this recurring income for yourself. Mavuma did it in 90 days. He created 1 million rand for himself in 90 days, right? Think about money differently. This is not just some money he's getting paid. Think about it differently. To create recurring income, you need 1 million rand in the bank. In the space of the next 30 days, he increased that by 20%. And then he increased it again. This was the number pulled in the middle of April, right? So we've got Tell All Tuesday, where we invite the wealth engineers doing more than 3+2 to come share their stories for us. So this Tuesday, we're doing our next Tell All Tuesday. We'll invite new wealth engineers that will come tell their story. The accountability lies with you. I didn't force Mavuma to do this business. I didn't say to him, you have to spend this much time in the business to be successful. He had to decide that all by himself. Here's Donnie. He's here with us this morning. You can't miss him. He's a fairly large chap, right? His income has been able to increase every single month. Think about your position in employment, in the work environment. Is that even a remote possibility where your income can increase every single month? Even if you went to your boss and said, I only want an extra 100 rand every month, he'd look at you like you're mad, right? I just want an extra 100 rand every month. It just doesn't happen. We beg for a raise once a year that's in line with inflation. We beg for that. And when people don't get it, they go on strike. We see that happening constantly. Just asking for a raise in line with inflation, 7% a year, is that too much to ask? Because if you're not getting that, your salaries actually become devalued in that year. Everything else is going up and not your salary. You're actually getting paid less. You're accountable for yourself in this business. If you want, you can get into this business and increase your income every single month. Patrick and Pumi, they joined a week after Donnie. I don't have to say that they sold out for this business. You can see it. 3 weeks ago, they got paid 83,000 rand. We all get SMSs about debit orders and the debit orders that have bounced. They got an SMS saying DuePoint just deposited 83,000 rand into your account. That's a good SMS to get. And again, their income will increase every single month. Do they have to work harder every month to get a rising return? They don't. They don't. That's the trick. That's the trick. They're not selling time. They're building an asset base that pays them more. They are just spending the same amount of time every month in the business, and their asset base is growing, paying them a larger return every month. Recurring income. We've got hundreds of wealth engineers that we pay every month that are making this business work for them. They've created value out of nothing, right? You don't have to have a matric to be in this business or a degree. You don't have to have corporate experience. I don't want your CV before I let you into this business. It's accessible to everybody. But what I'm telling you is if you want to be successful, I need your time. I need that time. No way around it. This is the returns that we pay our wealth engineers every month. And this is not all we have. We've got a rewards program. This is a rewards program over and above the return we pay our wealth engineers every month. So if you become a wealth engineer, I'm going to expect you to engage in typical wealth engineer behavior, which is coming to intro presentations, coming to training, bringing guests with you, logging into your website. And when you do all these good things that a good wealth engineer does, I'll give you something called XP. XP, experience points. No monetary value. It's just an indication of how active you are as a wealth engineer. And when you start collecting more of this XP through all this behavior as a good wealth engineer, and your business starts to grow, you will start to benefit out of the rewards program, right? So here's a table of the full rewards program, right? There's the XP required. There's the amount of products required in your channel. If you become a wealth engineer this morning, you will have the illustrious title of rank 0. But very quickly, Very quickly, you can get to rank 1. It's wealth engineers that do it in less than a day. Less than a day, you can get to rank 1. We'll be paying that wealth engineer a return at the end of the month, but over and above that, in the rewards program, at rank 1, we give you an extra 55 Rand. And then the more success you have in this business, you start to rank up. And the rewards get bigger. 100 Rand, 400 Rand, 1,500 Rand, 20,000 Rand, 50,000 Rand. That's the 50,000 Rand bonus or reward that Patrick and Pumi got at rank 10 3 weeks ago. That's why they got paid the 83,000. Okay? We give away tools that allow you to become more effective in this business. See, as Patrick and Pumi at rank 5, we gave them this little lightning memory stick, beautiful little device, plugs into anything. Anything, right? There's so many devices out there. To connect into those devices is a pain. This little device does it all. It plugs into computers, to laptops, to tablets, into phones, Android, iPhones, the banana phones that some of us have, I see. More importantly, all our video collateral is on that little stick. Our intro presentations, our training, the interviews with the special people and the clever people. Everything is on that stick so that they can show new people what DuePoint's all about very easily. It doesn't matter what device they have on them, where they are, what time of the day it is. At rank 7, we give our wealth engineers these luxurious premium business cards. It costs us 12,500 Rand to manufacture these cards. We nearly had to export them, or should I say import them, right? Because we couldn't find a supplier that would create them in South Africa. Finally, we found an old man in Cape Town that does gold gilding, right? You know Bibles? Some of the Bibles have got gold gilding around the edges. We needed this done on business cards, and he said he could do it. So there's no printing involved here. The logo is embossed in gold, foiled in gold. The edges are gilded in gold. They're 4 times thicker than any card. They're on a black paper that feels like suede. Go look at them. Or ask Donnie very nicely if you can touch his business card. But why would we spend so much money on business cards? Because people haven't heard of DuePoint. We don't really have brand value outside of this business. We don't. So if you go mention the word DuePoint to somebody, you might as well say something in Russian to them, right? But if you give them a business card that is 20 times more expensive than the business card they have at their work, they will stop and take notice about what you need to tell them about DuePoint. So these are tools that make you more effective. At rank 9, we take you and your family on a 7-day international conference. All expenses paid trip, business class flights for your family. This is not a once-off reward. The wealth engineers that get to rank 9 and maintain rank 9 status, we will take you on this trip every single year for the rest of your life. Think about that. You don't have to have a family meeting to discuss how much money you have in your bank account. Are we going to the Val Dam or Umhlanga Rocks this year? Right? We laugh. That's the choice that we make. That's the choice we make all the time. At the end of every year, how much money do we have? What can we do? Sorry, kids, you're not getting Christmas presents. You'll never have to worry about that again. You won't have to worry about the exchange rate. This is something you'll enjoy with your family forever. Take a look at where we're going at the end of this year. This is available for everyone in the room. Everyone in the room.
All of your wind has gone, and all of the paths you've drawn have sunk to the ocean sun where no one can see. You stand on at the dark embrace, cower the dreams you chase under the rust and blood. Don't let yourself give up.
Yes and yes? I think so. It looks nice. That's what I say to my wife. She always wants to go to Mauritius. I say Umhlanga Rocks is exactly the same as Mauritius. There's the beach, there's the sand, there's the sun, and at least we can speak English to the people that we're ordering food from. You can't do that in Mauritius. They don't speak. She says, no, Mauritius she thinks is much better. Does it look better than Umhlanga Rocks? Much better. Especially when someone else is paying for it, right? It doesn't end there. At rank 11, we pay for something else. Everyone wants the Mini. What's wrong with these two? Huh? The Fiat 500 is very nice, I think. Huh? No? Mini? A new car, but the special thing about this new car, there's something unique about this car, is that it has no debit order at the end of the month. Anyone got one of those? No? We're very serious about getting our wealth engineers into the position where they're debt-free. Can you see how we try to get this to happen? Right? This is the common thread throughout this business. Become debt-free as quickly as possible. This is only rank 11. Do you remember how many ranks were in the table? 20. We've got another 8 hidden on the other side of the office. We've already planned to rank 28. Are you going to be here for the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, or are you going to give up after 3 months, 6 months? Because we have wealth engineers. They give up after 3 months. Oh, no, this business doesn't work. It's too hard. Carry on doing what you're doing for the last 5 years. We've got another benefit for our wealth engineers. So this is something that we call a wealth quest. This is something quite exciting because we have a new wealth quest every single month. It is a challenge that we issue our wealth engineers. We give them a challenge and we say, well, if you conquer the challenge, there's a reward attached to it. So this month's challenge is that if you can find 2 individuals under the age of 30 to become product-paying wealth engineers and help them get qualified, in this month, you'll have a large smart TV sitting in your lounge by the end of the month. That's the challenge. Sound simple? Have you ever tried to convince a 20-something-year-old of something? They think they know better. Hey? So that is the challenge, because it is challenging to convince a 20-something-year-old that they need to be focusing on something 20 years ahead. Retirement. You start talking to a 20-something-year-old about retirement, they switch off. I get very excited when I see new young people get into this business, because they've got a step ahead of all of us. Right? I'm 40 and I think to myself, what the hell have I done for the last 20 years? Oh yes, that's right. I was living month to month to month to month to month. But if I see young people getting involved at the age of 20, 21, up to 25, I just think, jeez, if these guys can be successful in this business, man, are they going to enjoy their lives? They're not going to go through all this rubbish that we've had to go through and all these lessons that we've had to learn. So go for this. Let this be your goal this month. A few days left in the month. This is just a slide that illustrates our business model here at DuePoint. Some people think, geez, well, these guys are just bleeding money to their wealth engineers. I hope they got their maths right. Otherwise, they're going to be liquidating February next year. We've got very clever people involved in this business with a lot of experience in this business. So I'll quickly tell you what the business model's like. So on the left, that shows you a traditional business model, like Prime Meridian Direct down the road, right? Short-term insurer, they do lots of advertising because we see it. I've even got a PMD billboard right outside my office with Brian on it. They do so much advertising. Like most insurance companies, they will spend a large portion of the premium that they charge us that goes towards marketing and advertising. DuePoint, you won't see a logo outside. Like I said, there's no brand value that we have outside of this building because we don't do any marketing or advertising. Not a cent. Not a cent. We rely on the wealth engineers, our wealth engineers, to go out and tell people about DuePoint. So instead of spending the billions that the insurance industry spends on marketing and advertising, we take that portion of our premium and we attribute it to rewards and returns for our partners, for our wealth engineers. And that's how this business model works, very basically. So what are the products? We know it doesn't fit in a box. It doesn't take up space at home. It doesn't expire. It doesn't start to smell funny after a few months, right? We've got 3 products. They are financial products, obviously intangible products, right? We don't run out of them. Don't have to worry about having to buy lots of it to do well in this business. So we've got 3 products. They've got 3 very different financial benefits, each of the products. So you're free to look at taking out one product or all 3 because they have different benefits. The first product is called Access Wealth. It is an investment product, right? Reward yourself first. An investment product. $2.99 a month, of which 100 Rand gets invested into a tax-free investment fund. It's not a notice deposit, right? So you don't have to wait 90 days to draw out the investment. You can withdraw the investment if you want immediately. But then it wouldn't be an investment if you're using it as your current account. So that's the investment portion of the product. We give you a little bit of insurance with this investment product. We give you 110,000 Rands worth of personal accident cover with this investment. So if you have this investment and you happen to get shot in one of the strikes happening at the moment, we'll pay out your beneficiaries 110,000 Rand plus whatever's in the investment. Okay, so this is the investment product. Access Wealth, product number 1. Product number 2 is called Wealth Guard. It is only an insurance product. So this is strictly insurance, 274 Rand a month, but this time you get 1.1 million Rands worth of personal accident benefit. The beauty of our personal accident cover products is that it's accessible to anyone over the age of 18. Right? Because we don't profile you from a health risk point of view. So you can be 90 years old and still take out this product. It'll still only be 274 and you'll still get the 1.1 million Rand benefit. Okay, so this is the insurance product, product number 2. The product number 3 is called the Wealth Points Buyers Club. This product aims to save you money on the money that you are spending every month anyway. How much money are we spending on groceries? Too much. 40 Rand for Oros. Remember? But we've gone and built up a list of suppliers that we've approached and negotiated discounts with these suppliers that we share with the product owners of this Wealth Points product, right? So if you're a Wealth Points Buyers Club member, you get to engage with those list of suppliers there. There's some retailers there. We've got Eagle Ford as a new supplier, and you get discounts. There's a different discount with every supplier. So ShopRite Checkers, for example, is 2.5% off your entire trolley at ShopRite Checkers every time you shop there. Save money on the money that you're spending anyway. If you're looking for immediate benefit out of the products, this will give you immediate benefit. This will give you benefit every single month. Okay? So those are the 3 products. I think they're fairly straightforward. If you have any questions around the products, come speak to me after the presentation. I'll answer those questions for you. I remind you of the support that you get here. I spoke a little bit about it when I told you about the mandate of the staff here at DuePoint. But everything that we do is to support our wealth engineers in the effort of trying to get you to be as effective as possible. So lean into that support. Find out what all the support is. We've got the live stream that goes out to the entire country, so you can build your channels outside of Johannesburg or outside of whatever town you're in. We've got these facilities. We've spent an absolute fortune on these facilities. Use them. Come do your own presentations here. You can use the meetings for your boardrooms, the breakout rooms. You can set up meetings with Brendan and myself. We will sit down with your team and strategize your success with you personally, with your team, if you want us to do that. Use it. Use it. All right, so lean into it. We've got a training seminar called Plug In into the DuePoint system, which specifies all the support that's available to our wealth engineers. The orange slide. The orange slide is at the end, because all the other slides are gray and blue. This one is supposed to wake you up, because the decision we're going to be making now, and I hope you've made the decision, is if you're interested in this business, how does it fit into your schedule? What is the time you're going to sacrifice to make this business work? Because it has to become a regular feature in your business. I've seen it. I've seen the wealth engineers that get involved and only want to spend the spare time that they have in this business, and it doesn't work. We know it doesn't work. How many of us have decided at the end of every year, New Year's resolution, I'm going to do this and this and this and this? Unless you're very serious about it and you start scheduling it into your life and planning around it, you're not going to be successful, right? You also have to have a big enough why, a goal. How big is your goal? Do you want to be earning R1 million after 5 years annually? If that's your goal, you've got to strategize towards it. That's where you aim. When you're aiming for 5 years down the road, you don't get frustrated in the first 3 months or 6 months. Think about planning to run Comrades. You want to run Comrades? How far is Comrades? 90 kilometers. Are you going to start complaining at kilometer 3? No, because you've planned the goal of running Comrades. You don't complain in the first few kilometers. And the business is the same. Set your goals high. This business is actually about raising your standards. Don't accept employment as all that you have, as opportunity. That's not opportunity. Employment is this industrial machine that is designed to make money for businesses and CEOs. That's what it's designed to do. That's what industrialization is all about. And we're all in the cycle. No one is going to change your situation for you. Again, that's why I always say the accountability lies with you. It lies with you. It lies with you. Your spouse is not going to change your situation. The economy is not going to change overnight. None of that is going to change. You have to do this for yourself. And you have to be big enough and mature enough to go, I'm going to make a decision today that is going to affect me in 20 years' time. That's why we issue that challenge. Get 20-something-year-olds to see that vision. Because it's very difficult. It's only when we get to our 40s where we start to panic about retirement, where we realize the last 20 years haven't been that fruitful. Make the decision today. Is it risky? Everything's a little bit risky. When have you ever got anything with anything that isn't risky? Got to take that risk. Take the risk. What's the worst that can happen? So we make joining very easy, like everything else. If you've got your own smartphone or tablet on you, we've got some iPads in the breakout rooms, jump onto our website. There's a big blue apply button. You click on that button, you go through the application process, you'll be a wealth engineer in about 7 minutes. Okay? Doesn't mean you've got to try break the 7-minute record. Just go through it normally. When you become a wealth engineer, you'll get an SMS and an email with your policy and plan documents and your unique wealth engineer number. You're now, what did I say? The illustrious rank 0 wealth engineer. Your first goal, get to rank 1 as quickly as possible. Become an earning wealth engineer as quickly as possible. We've got merchandise. This is not a profit center for us. This is benefit to you guys. These are tools that can help you be more effective in this business. Please consider getting business cards. Go look, the business cards are in the merchandise cabinet. If you go speak to someone and you propose this wonderful business opportunity that you are sold out for, and they say, please give me a business card. No, I don't have business cards. Right? It's all about credibility. This business is all about credibility. Get business cards. We've got caps newly available. Check out the caps. USB sticks, very convenient. We're very much a data-driven site. So if data is an issue for you, get the USB stick. We've got all the videos on the USB stick. You can give it to friends. You can plug it into TVs nowadays. So use that. Power blocks. Don't ask me for a charger when you come to the office. Get a power block. Charge your phone yourself. The pins, those pins that you see some of the wealth engineers have got these pins. It means that they're earning at DuePoint. So get a pin and wear it proudly. Those little ones are only 40 Rand. And then you'll see they get bigger, bigger, and more colorful the more successful you are at DuePoint. So take a look at the merchandise, all in the cabinet. There's a price list on the reception table. I remind you, we've got a YouTube channel. Like I said, we're very much a data-driven site. All the videos we have ever done for the last 14 months, 15 months, sit on YouTube. You can go look at everything, all the training, the interviews, the testimonies. It's all there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. It'll notify you every time we load up a new video. It'll tell you when the live streams are about to happen. We've got a mobile app that you can download once you become a wealth engineer. Jump onto our free Wi-Fi, download the app. You can run your business from the palm of your hand on your smartphone. Everything in your channel gets reflected in that little app. Guys, I thank you for your time this morning. I think I went over a little bit, but I was feeling very motivated that you all came out in such cold weather. I'm sweating up here. It feels like a Swedish sauna in here now. Come speak to me afterwards if you have any questions. And I thank you for your time. I hope you have an awesome weekend. Get to rank 1 by Monday. That's your goal. Thank you, guys.